I had finished law school, and as with anyone who had achieved such a thing, I thought life was going exceptionally well. I met someone incredibly special there, someone who would change my life forever. A person who showed nothing but compassion. A warm, radiating love that brought joy in every room that they went into. As time progressed, we became close. I became overjoyed, ecstatic and madly in love. At the same time, I made a new friend and his name was Muhammad. Little did I know that this wonderful man would play an incredibly large part into why I decided to join Islam. As the seasons changed, so did I, growing seemingly in every direction. My life then took a disastrous turn for the worst. My partner was diagnosed with leukemia, a rare blood cancer. Not only did she have leukemia, but she was also anemic with an AB negative blood type. After months of dealing with the illness, my partner no longer had the strength to do many things. And when it rains, it pours. One evening I arrived home to see my partner bleeding profusely from the nose, and it wouldn't stop. She collapsed in my arms, and I sat there covered in scarlet, asking myself why this was happening to someone so pure. Fast forward, her situation was critical, and she decided to go back home to Cyprus to spend the last days in her hometown. After an incredibly emotional talk, she told me that I couldn't come with her as she didn't want me to see her in her last few days. She knew that it would kill me. Frustration occurred, anger, helplessness, self-doubt, a plethora of things that had me hanging on to the last threads of my existence. In the moments that followed, I fell into a pit of eternal darkness. The love of my life had been taken away from me, and I couldn't be there to hold her hand in her last few moments. Despair of the greatest magnitude. After months of darkness, I decided to end it all. I tried to plunge from a bridge. It was the kindness of a Syrian man working nearby, who looked and spoke to me with such humility and grace that pulled me from the edge. 5 years. I lived with nothing but a deafening silence, crippling depression, and an inhumane numbness in the epicenter of my soul, where nothing but the fractured pieces of my very being lay waiting to be stitched together by threads of destiny or of God. After much anguish, I somehow found a way out of the darkness and barely found my feet. I was walking, once again, like a toddler in the land of the living. I asked myself, was this really living? Am I not a shell of a man? A husk of a soul? As time passed, I progressed down the mortal coil. I once again found someone special. This time, someone who was a Muslim. I learned the language of her people, showered her with affection and adoration. I had begun my journey to convert into Islam for her, in order to be married to her, in order to be accepted into her family. As Allah would have it, it was not meant to be, and I lost her due to a situation out of my hands. Once again I found a dizzying madness, sinking deep within my already tattered soul. I thought I had finally found the one, that if I loved fully and truly, that surely fate, God, or otherwise, would look kindly on me, for I have always loved with my entire being. I found myself by a river, having not eaten in 3 days, having slept 4 hours in 4 days, body exhausted, mind broken, heart eviscerated. Earlier that day I attempted to go running in order to stop my heart from beating. I ran harder, faster, more furiously, cursing every fibre of my existence, no matter which books I read, what education I had, or which level of kindness I could show. I found myself at this fated river, tears rolling down my eyes, soaked in my shirt, knees on the floor, crying for God to take me, to deliver me from this cruel life. I uttered the words, "Please, I don't have the strength anymore. Just take me." As strangers walked by, overhearing the ramblings of a madman, I found myself not caring, for it was not a cry for attention from the masses, but a cry to God himself. Being raised a Roman Catholic, I had become disenfranchised with the religion, seeing most religions as impure, being tainted with human input. I didn't know who to ask help from. My mind raced, my heart beating ever faster, my body aching and my tears cascading from my face. I had asked my friend Mohammed for his forgiveness. He had been my best friend for years, and I told him that I could not live anymore. Lost in a perpetual sadness, a flood seemingly falling from my face, my own echoing madness reverberating inside my head. I put my head on the floor and I begged. And as I begged, I felt a man put his hand on my shoulder. And I turned around to find a Muslim couple standing there with warmth in their eyes. The brother asked me if I was okay, and I responded, "Please don't waste your time on me, I am worthless." His wife then responded, asking me if I wanted water, that I could sit in their car and calm down. I again profusely asked them not to waste their time on me. They said they would be nearby if I needed anything, and for a brief moment, ever so slightly, my heart felt at ease, feeling the kindness of that Muslim couple. However, immediately I was overcome with grief and agony of such a magnitude that I would not wish it on my worst enemy. As I was on my knees preparing myself to end it all, I remember every interaction I'd ever had with Muslims throughout my life. I dove into the memories I had with my best friend and the Syrian man from 6 years ago. I made one last prayer. I prayed to Allah, and I asked him to forgive me for anything I'd ever done. I looked into the sky, my clothes littered with tears, and I begged him to end my suffering. I cried, "Allah, please forgive me." I had my palms turned towards the skies, and upon facing this star-covered sky, with the anguish consuming me, I felt a hand on my shoulder once again. I turned and no one was there. For some reason, I stood up and felt like my spine was being lifted, being carried for me. Tingles shot up my body. I looked into the sky, bracing myself to take a step into the fast-flowing river in front of me. As I tried to take the first step, I lost my consciousness. I remember hearing footsteps running towards me. When I woke up, I see the Muslim couple standing over me with kindness in their eyes and a sweet Irishman holding me up. I ended up going to the hospital and left only with minor injuries. Laying in bed, I found myself gravitating to the thoughts of the people who had shown me kindness, my best friend from Saudi, and later another friend from Sudan who had shown me unwavering loyalty and compassion. The latter from Sudan providing such insight from the Quran, giving me words of comfort and serenity. After many conversations and pensive thoughts about everything that had happened in my life, I decided that I would accept Islam. Not for another person, not for society, but because for the first time in my life I felt that God existed. I felt it from my friends. I felt it in that moment. I felt it from the couple who are Muslim. For the first time I felt like I had a path, that I had run towards that of which I wasn't sure that existed, and I was greeted with love. A love that I had never felt before, something that felt so pure in its existence, a manifestation of a force so powerful and compassionate, it banished the very darkness around my heart and mind. Although I am broken and weary, I found strength not in myself, but within Allah. I ran to him, and he answered, for what else could have saved me in that situation? My emotions raged like a tsunami, heart booming like a war drum, mind shattered and discarded across time and space. And then there was peace. All at once, the seas calmed, the heart gently reverberating inside my chest, my mind brought to heel, stitching itself back together to form the tapestry that were once my memories and thoughts. I felt like I was home. I will be coming into Islam. I have been reading the Quran every day, understanding the pillars on which Islam stands strong. My Akis have been guiding me and will take me to do my Shahada. I could not be more grateful than I am at this very moment. And although tears once again stream down my face, like escaping memories, they are happy tears. Anyone who has taken the time to listen or to read this, thank you. If you are struggling, know that you're not alone. I shed my tears of happiness for Allah, and I shed them for all my brothers and sisters. I truly love you, and although we may never meet, know that there is a brother who loves you. I hope to one day meet many of you, and maybe one day, if Allah wills it, find a loving and caring partner that I continually can be grateful to Allah for. Alhamdulillah for everything. We can never